Ever found yourself tossing and turning? Your mind fixated on someone almost like they're haunting your thoughts? No! It's not just a fleeting thought, but an overwhelming presence. What if I told you that Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, had some deep insights into why this happens? And what if the ancient wisdom of Stoicism could help you break free from this mental loop? Let's uncover the surprising reasons behind why someone might always be on your mind. 1. Projection. Is it really them, or is it you? Let's start with one of Carl Jung's most fascinating ideas. Projection. According to Jung, when we can't stop thinking about someone, it may not be because of them at all. In fact, it could be that we are projecting parts of ourselves onto them, things we either don't want to see or haven't fully acknowledged in our own personality. Projection happens when we unconsciously attribute our own unrecognized feelings, desires, or traits onto someone else. For example, you might think someone is being overly controlling, when in reality, it's your own need for control that's surfacing. Or you might be frustrated with them because they're living out a dream or pursuing a lifestyle you secretly envy but haven't pursued yourself. This projection could even be about our own fears or insecurities. Maybe you are constantly thinking about a colleague who seems confident, but you are projecting your own self-doubt onto them. Instead of seeing their confidence as a source of inspiration, it becomes a trigger for your own inner conflict. This projection could be more than just about your feelings. It's about the parts of yourself that you may not have fully accepted. You might see someone as being too proud, but it's your own pride you are resisting. When we project, we blame others for feelings we aren't ready to face in ourselves. Jung taught us that understanding projection can be liberating. When you stop seeing these traits in the other person and start to recognize them in yourself, you open the door to self-awareness. You begin to realize that the person you are fixated on might simply be a mirror reflecting back parts of yourself that you've either ignored or rejected. Here is where Stoicism comes in. The Stoics believed in taking responsibility for our own thoughts and reactions. Instead of letting someone else's actions dictate your emotional state, you can choose to look inward and ask, what is this really about for me? By focusing on your own internal growth and accepting yourself, you free yourself from the trap of external projection. 2. The shadow, the parts of you you don't want. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow refers to the parts of ourselves we tend to ignore, repress, or deny. These are the traits, emotions, or desires we don't want to face because they don't align with our ideal self-image. When someone is always on your mind, it might be because they embody something within you that you haven't fully accepted yet. For example, you might think about someone who is outspoken and assertive, but deep down, you wish you had more confidence in expressing your own opinion. That person might be triggering your shadow, the part of you that you are ashamed to admit exists. The more you repress these qualities, the more likely they are to show up in someone else, making you feel drawn to them without fully understanding. When we focus on others in this way, it's often an unconscious attempt to deal with our own shadow. The person you can't stop thinking about might reflect back the very qualities you deny in yourself, such as anger, greed, or even kindness. Jung taught us that by confronting these hidden parts of ourselves, we can integrate them into our whole being, becoming more authentic and self-aware. This is where Stoicism offers powerful advice. The Stoics believed in accepting the totality of who we are, both the light and the dark. Rather than denying our flaws or the parts we wish to avoid, they encouraged embracing them, learning from them, and ultimately growing strong. The more we understand our shadow, the less power it has over us, and the more control we gain over our lives. 3. The animus. Your inner count. Jung also introduced the idea of the anima and animus, the inner feminine and masculine aspects present in all of us. Every man has an animath, feminine part of his psyche, and every woman has an animus, the masculine part of. If someone is constantly on your mind, they might represent the aspects of yourself that are currently unbalanced or underdeveloped. For instance, if you are a man who keeps thinking about a woman who's nurturing and empathetic, It could be that your animate part of you that craves emotional connection and compassion is underdeveloped or ignored. Alternatively, if you are a woman thinking about a man who's strong and decisive, it could be that your animus, the part of you that craves power and assertiveness. The more we neglect these inner counterparts, the more we look outside of ourselves for fulfillment. This is why someone might be constantly on your mind, because they embody what you are missing or need to embrace within yourself. Jung believed that true wholeness comes when we integrate the anima or animus into our daily lives, giving us balance and a deeper understanding of ourselves. Stoicism aligns with this idea by encouraging self-reflection and embracing all parts of who we are. Instead of seeing your inner counterpart as something to ignore or suppress, the Stoics would suggest you nurture and develop. By integrating these qualities, you can become a more well-rounded person, ultimately living a life of greater harmony. 4. Synchronicity. When events and thoughts align, Carl Jung introduced the idea of synchronicity, which is essentially meaningful coincidence when events and thoughts seem to align in a way that feels purposeful or significant. If someone is always on your mind, it could be because you are experiencing synchronicities related. You might encounter reminders of this person through random occurrences, conversations, or even dreams that seem too coincidental to ignore. For example, you may think about a person you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly, you hear their name mentioned in a conversation, or you see their face in an advertisement. These moments can feel almost magical, like the universe is trying to tell you something about them, or that they have some deeper connection to your current life path. Jung believed that synchronicities are a reflection of our inner unconscious thoughts aligning with the external. When someone is constantly on your mind, it might not just be a random thought. It could be that your mind is trying to tell you something, or that the person represents a key lesson you are supposed to. These synchronicities encourage us to reflect on our inner life and see how our thoughts might be guiding us towards certain people, places, or moments. From a Stoic perspective, synchronicities remind us that we are not separate from the world around us. The Stoics believed that everything is interconnected and that we should embrace the flow of life with acceptance. If certain thoughts or people keep appearing in your life, it might be a call to examine why you are being drawn. By paying attention to these patterns, you can gain clarity on your path and align your actions with your deeper purpose. 5. The unconscious mind, the source of deep desire. Finally, Jung believed that our unconscious mind is constantly working behind the scenes, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and feelings in ways we often don't realize. If someone is always on your mind, it might be that your unconscious mind is pulling you toward them because they represent something deeper you are yearning for, whether it's an unmet need, desire, or aspect of. The unconscious mind often communicates through symbols, dreams, and repressed emotions. For example, if you are thinking about someone who is calm and peaceful, it could be because you are craving more tranquility in your. Alternatively, if someone is ambitious and goal-driven, your unconscious might be reminding you of the goals or aspirations you've put aside. Jung emphasized that by becoming more conscious of these hidden desires and acknowledging the unconscious mind, we can achieve greater self-awareness. When someone is always on your mind, it could be a signal to dive deeper into what you truly want or need on a deeper emotional or psychological level. Perhaps you are seeking qualities or traits that they embody but haven't fully integrated into your own life. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions and desires should be examined with clarity. Instead of letting them control us, the Stoics encouraged us to become aware of our impulses and reactions. By understanding the desires behind your thoughts about this person, you can make more conscious choices, aligning your actions with your deeper values and goals. Embracing the wisdom of Jung and Stoicism. Understanding why someone is always on your mind involves exploring deep psychological layers that often go unnoticed. Carl Jung's concepts such as projection, the shadow, anima, animus, synchronicity, and the unconscious mind offer profound insights into our inner world and how we relate to others. These ideas invite us to reflect on our hidden desires, unacknowledged traits, and the powerful forces at play beneath the surface of our consciousness. By recognizing these psychological patterns, we gain the power to transform our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to stop being controlled by unconscious forces. This self-awareness opens the door to deeper connections with ourselves and others, helping us achieve greater balance and understanding.